Rink-wide Vancouver, pre-game, post-game, every game, presented by Bodog. From sports odds to free casino games, make a play at bodog.net. Wadden and JPat here with you with another edition of the pre-game show as the Canucks get set to face off against the Kraken. The I-5-ory continues, JPat. Yeah, I said it right. And the Canucks, though, they look to remain unbeaten over Seattle.
Yeah, the Vancouver Canucks don't have a whole lot going for them these days, but one thing they do have is this ability to lord their record against the Seattle Kraken over their opponent tonight. They're 5-0 lifetime. They swept them last year. They got a win at Climate Pledge earlier this year. In fact, it was their first win of the season, so maybe that's something, a little something, for the Vancouver Canucks to build on heading into this matchup tonight.
Let's get to the lineup change presented by Delaney's OK Tire out there on Fraser Highway in Langley. Are we going to see the start of the Peterson-Pettersson era?
It was a Christmas miracle. Elias Pettersson, who's missed the last couple of games, took part of the morning skate. He was part of the power play drill as well. That's usually a pretty good indication of a guy is going to play. Now, Bruce Boudreau said after the morning skate, Elias Pettersson, is a game-time decision, but Lane Peterson is going to stay in the lineup, and if they do skate the way they skated in the game tonight, if they skate the way they did at the morning skate, then yes, you've got Pettersson and Peterson along with Andrei Kuzmenko. It looks like they're going to go back to the way they started the year with the big three, if you will, down the middle. Horvat between Connor Garland and Ilya Mikheyev, and that leaves JT Miller with Brock Besser and Dakota Joshua. But as big as the news of getting Pettersson back in the lineup, also some head scratching going on because it looks like Ethan Bear is going to be a healthy scratch for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. Of course, an early season acquisition by this management group. And if Ethan Bear is in fact sitting tonight, you're going to have a defense pairing of Riley Stillman and Kyle Burrows. That would be the third pair for the Vancouver Canucks. It would also mean that OEL and Tyler Myers reunited to play together as well. So certainly something to watch as the puck drops later on this evening.
Now, the Canucks have games in hand on those that they are chasing. However, they're starting to fade in the Western Conference standings.
Yeah, after the loss to St. Louis the other night, they were 7 back in the playoff bar, and then they haven't played since then. Other teams have, and they've won. Canucks are now 9 full points out of the playoff picture in the West. And, you know, it's crazy to think how quickly things move in the National Hockey League. 2 weeks ago today was the day after that overtime win in San Jose when Elias Pettersson pulled the trigger and the Canucks beat the Sharks. They were 2 points back in the playoffs then. Fast forward 2 weeks, and they're now 9 points out of the playoff chase. So they're spinning their wheels. They haven't won an awful lot in those 2 weeks. In fact, just one victory over the last 14 days. That was in Calgary last week, and everybody else picking up points around the Vancouver Canucks. So, yes, the playoff dream, it is fading in a hurry for the Vancouver Canucks.
And if the Canucks want to right this ship, they got to stop chasing games early on.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They've been scored on first in 8 of their last 9. The only time that they opened the scoring, those 2 quick goals in Calgary at the Saddledome last week. But even then, the Flames rallied and had a 3-2 lead early in the second period. So beyond just giving up the first goal, the Canucks have barely played with the lead, and they really haven't had a chance to play with the lead on home ice very much. It was scoreless halfway through the game the other night before St. Louis opened the scoring. Of course, Winnipeg got a jump on them. You go back, Minnesota shut the Canucks out. So it's been a while since the home fans have had something to get excited about early in a hockey game, to get behind this club. And we know that there's sort of a nervous energy every time the Canucks step onto the ice in front of the home fans. We'll see what happens tonight against the Seattle Kraken.
Been an up and down year for Connor Garland. However, he loves the taste of squid. Does very well against the Kraken.
Yeah, who knows why? He's a Boston guy. He calls Vancouver home, but he does seem to feast on this Seattle Kraken team last year and earlier this year as well. In fact, the goal that he scored, an empty netter at Climate Pledge, looked like it was insurance earlier this season, and then the Kraken got a late one, and so it stood up as the game winner. But in 5 career games against this, last year it was an expansion team, obviously now into its second season of existence, Connor Garland, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points in those 5 games, so he'll be looking to build on that when the puck drops later on this evening.
And it looks like Spencer Martin is going to get the start in goal once again.
Yeah, and who knows what the goaltending plan will be for tomorrow night, the final game before Christmas in Edmonton. The Canucks do go back-to-back, but their focus right now is on the Kraken, and it will be Spencer Martin who gets the start. This will be his 8th straight start and his 10th straight appearance. If you go back, remember, of course, he came in relief of an injured Thatcher Demko in that game against the Florida Panthers earlier this month and got the start in the game before that. So you add it all up, Martin has appeared in 10 straight games, or will have, once this one gets going later on this evening. And it is fair to wonder, for the first time in his NHL career with this kind of workload, are we seeing a little bit of goaltender fatigue? Gave up 5 the other night, gave up 5 against the Winnipeg Jets, and you'd like a few more saves along the way, but he is their guy in the absence of Demko, at least right now. So, yeah, they're turning to Spencer Martin, and we'll see if he can shut down the Seattle Kraken team this evening.
The Canucks couldn't shut down the Blues or the Jets. However, the Kraken did quite well against them. Back-to-back wins. And oh yeah, look at that record against Western Conference opponents.
Yeah, this is really impressive. And it's one of the reasons the Kraken are above the playoff bar. In fact, in one of the 3 divisional slots in the Pacific. Against Western teams this year, they are 12-4-3. So they have manhandled the opponents within the conference. Of course, they've only seen the Canucks once, and that was a regulation loss. It also triggered an incredible 11-1-1 run in a 13-game stretch for the Seattle Kraken. So they lost to the Canucks on home ice. I think it was the 27th of October. And after that, they got on a tear and shot up the standings. And they're now 10 full points ahead of the Vancouver Canucks. And a lot of that is because they have feasted on the teams that they're competing with within the Western Conference.
And not only that, the Kraken have depth up front, including top rookie Matty Beniers.
Yeah, Andre Burakovsky, a terrific addition for this team. He leads the team in scoring, but a lot of familiar names. Jared McCann leads the team in goals with 15. Jordan Eberle's having a nice season. They've surrounded this group with a little bit more depth, and Matty Beniers looks like the real deal. The second overall pick, the first selection in the history of the Seattle Kraken when it comes to the NHL entry draft. And you look at what he's doing, 11 goals, 13 assists, 24 points this is his full rookie season. Of course, he got a taste of the NHL at the end of last year after his college days at the University of Michigan, but 24 points already this year. He's second on this team in goals. He is third on this team in points. So he's already a big part of what the Seattle Kraken are doing. And what the Kraken are doing is winning a whole lot of hockey games.
Yeah, winning a lot more games than they did last year. Night and day, this Kraken team.
Yeah, they went through the growing pains that most expansion teams, save for the Vegas Golden Knights, seem to do. But in year number 2, it is night and day for this Kraken group. They've got 18 wins already in 31 games. It took them 61 games last season to reach the 18-game win mark. And how about this? On the road, these guys have been terrific away from Climate Pledge Arena. They already have 9 road wins this season before Christmas. They have a chance to make it 10 with a victory over the Canucks. They won 11 times as the visitors all of last season. So, yeah, absolutely. Putting last season behind them, they have turned a page, and they look like a legitimate playoff threat, at least to qualify. I'm not going to make any grand predictions about them in the second year of existence, but they certainly look legit to be a playoff team when the postseason rolls around.
I turned a page last game with my Bodog Best Bet, snapping a 7-game losing streak. I'm hoping to keep this this streak going at least. I have an old faithful, JPat. I'm going back to the well with this one. A power play goal scored in the first period at plus 125. I bet it earlier this year. I won on it. Now, both these teams terrible on the PK. And of course, the Canucks like to dine on the power play. Let's see if they can do that in the first period. Win me some money.
Yeah, and if Elias Pettersson is back, that's certainly a shot in the arm to the Vancouver Canuck power play. But you're right. This is one of the storylines going into the St. Louis game the other night. Both teams dreadful on the penalty kill. That is an area of concern for the Kraken. They're 30th in the National Hockey League. The Canucks giving up 2 more power play goals the other night. They've slipped back to 32nd. But this is an opportunity perhaps for the Vancouver Canucks power play to make a mark in a hockey game. The component parts, certainly if Pettersson's back in the lineup, are there. Although that said, even with Elias Pettersson the last couple of weeks, the power play has gone a little bit too quiet, so maybe it's due for a breakout game, and maybe the Kraken penalty kill will be the tonic.
Well, I can go either way, though, right? Just need a power play goal from either Seattle or Vancouver. All right. Who's going to make their mark, though, in this game, JPat? Who tonight is going to do something?
All right, for the third straight game, I'm going back to the well. I'm on JT Miller's case. This guy's too good. He's a better player than he's shown of late. The goal drought's at 10, just 1 goal in his last 14 games, but beyond goals, he has 1 point, 1 assist in his last 5 hockey games. And the last 2 without Elias Pettersson seemed like an opportunity for JT Miller to try to step up and fill the void. That did not happen. So it's been a long time since he's been able to throw those arms in the air and celebrate a goal. You got to go all the way back to a game in Las Vegas. But in terms of home goals, and we've mentioned this before, November the 5th against the Nashville Predators. So you know what JT Miller wants for Christmas? He wants a goal. He wants a goal that helps the Vancouver Canucks get a victory to start to try to move this thing back in the right direction, because the home ice record, unacceptable with just 5 wins in 15 starts so far this year at Rogers Arena. So I had him that as my do-something guy against Winnipeg. Didn't happen. I had him as my do-something guy against the St. Louis Blues. That didn't happen either. Maybe the third time's the charm, but we're not letting him off the hook. JT Miller means a lot to this Vancouver team. They've committed to him the long term. The new deal hasn't even kicked in yet. So JT Miller, it's on you to do something to help the Vancouver Canucks tonight against the Kraken.
All right, let's see if the Canucks can do some more to the Kraken, as they have owned this rivalry early on. Let's see if they can remain unbeaten. This has been another edition of the Rink Wide Vancouver podcast, presented by Bodog. For Jeff Patterson, I'm Andrew Wadden. Remember, Rink Wide is the show that always scores.